Welcome back to the Endgame. Today we're going to be playing in a very important game for the series, if not the most important. This is Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. This is a game that pretty much every Monster Hunter player, irrespective of which generation they prefer to play in, is aware of, and its significance is actually somewhat understated. It tends to be a point at which people will stop when going backwards through the series. The reality is that everything that was in the series in terms of monsters, and I suppose quests in a way, can be found in this particular game. When you go further back, you're going to be fighting the same monsters, but it's going to be a little bit different. You'll have different villages and different cities to go to in order to fight these monsters, and the balance of the games is going to be different. But strictly speaking, this is the best expression of traditional Monster Hunter as it was in the 2000s. So, this is the game, but when I say that the differences are understated, or rather the significance of this game is understated, what I'm referring to is people's understanding of what second generation actually is. This game is different from every game that came before it in a few fundamental ways. That also includes Monster Hunter Freedom 2, the high-rank version of this game. So, people probably see Monster Hunter DOS as some kind of outlier when it comes to the second-gen games, but I have to tell you that Freedom 2 is also quite similar to DOS in a lot of ways. Many things were introduced for the very first time in this game, so really calling this game second-gen or suggesting that it's representative of second generation is actually largely incorrect. But I can probably go through some of those things now. If I do end up playing Freedom 2 in this series, which I think I will, I'll be able to go really in depth, and not just tell, but also show what the differences are. Sorry, I'm just holding my phone awkwardly here, because I need to connect to my chat. I always struggle to find this thing. Here we go. I basically keep a Twitch tab open so as to be able to monitor my chat. I still don't sign in for some reason. I'm sure I'll realize that it's better to sign in eventually, but anyway. Because if I don't sign in, I end up getting ads on my own stream, unsurprisingly. As far as the people we're going to be playing with today, I think I've got one person lined up, but outside of that, I'm really not sure. We're just going to cross our fingers and hope that there's going to be other people joining as well. This loadout that I have equipped here was actually being used offline. This is a pellet gun loadout. I would strongly advise against using pellet online. Doesn't matter which game it's in, or which game one is referring to. It is an axiom of Monster Hunter that using pellet online is both discourteous and really stupid. But anyway. We've got Cushion, so he is someone who is guaranteed to be hunting with me this time around. Outside of him, it's just going to be... we're going to leave it up to chance, I suppose is what we'll say. Freedom Unite is a game that I play semi-regularly. These days, not as regularly as I would have done a few years ago. I find that Freedom Unite is less replayable than other games, and I suppose there's a few reasons for this. When it comes to my personal play, I've still got some Monster Hunter games that I'm actually working on. Largely first-gen games, but DOS as well. I'm still building my character in those games. So if I want to play a traditional Monster Hunter game, I'm actually more minded to go back to a game that I haven't reached the end game in just yet. So it just ends up... it's a situation where, as a result of wanting to work on other characters, I don't play Freedom Unite as much. The same can be said of Monster Hunter Freedom 1. If I'm in the mood to play some Freedom 1, or I suppose some first generation, I'm going to jump on Monster Hunter 1 and build my character in that. In Monster Hunter 1 I'm about HR 13, I think, which is technically G rank in that game. I believe I'm remembering that correctly. I know that I'm G rank in the game, I think it's HR 13. If we've only got 2 people for now, oh, we've got a third. Okay. I haven't actually established what quest I'm going to be doing. And there's our 4 people. Oh, we've got a person who's running in here and posting their own quest. Depending on what it is, I don't mind indulging them, but that was... Yeah, it's a technique that you will see in all Monster Hunter games. For those of you who watched the previous recording in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, you will have seen the exact same thing. Towards the Silence has been posted, which is... Well, let me just make sure that this is the G rank quest. If it is, I really don't mind doing it. I will, however, it is the HR 7. I'm just typing to them now. As much as I don't like using the in-game chat, because it sort of takes me out of the experience a little bit, when I have the little chat indicator on the left side, it's sort of... It reminds me that I'm playing in an emulator, or at the very least, how I present the game looks more like the emulator. Kiyomi is not responding to me. Has he actually read the chat? He possibly has done? Alright, what I'll do, because he's being slightly annoying in not actually reading the chat. Oh, he definitely has a high rank loadout there. Of course, same thing in all the Monster Hunter games. You will encounter people here also who get carried to the end game. It also may be the case that this person just doesn't have a good gunner loadout, but does have a good Blade Master loadout, and for one reason or another isn't very confident in their ability to do Chameleos with a Blade Master loadout. Alright, now we've got the G rank version. Thank you for... HR 4 and above? No, I saw all of those stars and here I was thinking... No, of course not. This guy really... And of course Jefferson doesn't have the first idea of what's going on. In fact, he's also got a desperately inappropriate loadout for his rank. This is not good. Cushion, can you stay here? And I'm going to actually change into a loadout that I want to use, and then I'm going to post the G rank version, and these people can either like it or lump it. It's my room, actually. And if they want to depart on the quest without me, I will remove them from the room. I have absolutely no qualms about doing that. What loadout do I want to use? Let's just keep it fun. We'll go with Fire, Sword, and Shield. Or I could also use Dragon, Sword, and Shield. Golden Eclipse, and I will eat as well in case I haven't eaten. This is actually a game where your food boosts are saved. So if you eat and then save the game, you can actually load into an instance of the game where you have already eaten. This is no longer the case in games after Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Hello, Wonderlord. The pressure is on. I have to get back really quickly, otherwise they will depart without me. I probably should have told them that I was changing weapons, only to come back and post a different quest anyway. The more you communicate, the better, but we can see that after requesting that this guy post the G rank version, he goes and posts the low rank version. I don't know really what to say other than G rank, I think, is quite universal. Here we go, HR 7. Cushion, don't... Oh, I think he joined up on the quest to placate Kiyomi. Just to be clear, Cushion's actually listening live, so he knows what I'm saying. Kiyomi, no, did you even check to see what it was? Go and look. Look to see what it is, and you'll find that it is what I requested for you to post in the first instance. Do you see what it is? When I said G rank, you will see that there is a corresponding letter here. You'll see that G3, G rank. When I saw all of those stars, I was left a little bit confused, and the reason why is because in, say, other first-gen games, you don't get that G with the stars, you just get a lot of stars that you don't have time to sit there and read. Jefferson is going to need to update himself with what's going on. He's using an interesting weapon, not one that you often see. It's the Ancient Greatsword. I actually confess that I've probably only seen maybe 2 or 3 people ever use it in this game. It's a little bit more commonly used in 1st gen. You almost never see it in 2nd. But... oh, that's right, it's not a dragon weapon in this game. Epitaph Eternal, I think, is a raw greatsword. Unless they changed it in 2nd gen. That's what it is in 1st gen, so... when I said that it was an appropriate choice, it was with the understanding that it was a dragon weapon, but I think that's a misunderstanding, a misapprehension on my part. Yeah, I'll bring a Farcaster, why not? So I have... yes, I do have my Ancient Potion. Alright, this is probably going to be slow going. I've got no idea if Kiyomi has appropriate ammunition for this quest, but anyway. Wonderlord, I do take exception to referring to 4th generation as old gen. I really do. I think... I don't know. It is, at the end of the day, semantics. And possibly not that important, but... I suppose we could call 1st to 2nd traditional Monster Hunter, and then... I've always called 3rd gen to 4th gen modern Monster Hunter. But I suppose you can't continuously call things modern as they get older and older. Eventually you have to update your terminology, so... yeah, really, it's only made possible, my referring to 3rd and 4th gen as modern Monster Hunter, through a complete disregarding of 5th generation. But anyway, that's my journey, that's my thing that I need to worry about. For those of you watching who are 5th gen players, I do not hold you in low regard. I just hold the games that you enjoy in low regard. Just remember that. Oh, we're doing the, or rather the monster is doing the tail attack. That tail attack, which creates large wind pressure, is also present in 4th generation as an attack, but it is much more potent, or much more effective, in this particular game. Potency doesn't sound correct when referring to something like a tail slam. But yeah, if you're anywhere near the monster here in Freedom Unite when he's doing that attack, you'll be on your ass. I tried to dive, but it was unsuccessful. I'm just not really paying attention to what's going on, clearly. So the weapon that I'm using here is obviously the Goldrathian Sword and Shield. It has to be said that in this game, Sword and Shield is very weak. I'm not going to say that Sword and Shield was given a boost in damage in 3rd generation, because I don't know that for sure. But certainly comparatively speaking, this weapon is very weak. So many other weapons are considerably stronger, but the weak weapons in this game would probably be Sword and Shield, Hunting Horn, and Gunlance. Gunlance was considerably stronger in earlier games, specifically Freedom 2 and DOS. As I recall, I believe Gunlance was nerfed. Which is unsurprising. They usually start off with making the newest weapons quite strong, and then they nerf them over time. I think it's intentional. I always thought that it was incompetence on the part of Capcom in the past, but now that I think about it, it may be a way of incentivizing people to use the new weapon types. If you think about it, if you've got people coming on board from a previous Monster Hunter game, they may have an established comfort zone that they don't want to get out of, so let's say they use Hammer, and they'll just continue using Hammer in a game where you've introduced new weapon types. But if you make the new weapon types particularly strong, that may actually incentivize people to get out of their comfort zone a little bit and learn a new weapon type. So it could actually be by design that the Gunlance, for example, was so strong initially. We can also look at things like the Insect Glaive and the whole mounting system of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. That would be another example of what I'm talking about. Just new functions and new systems in the game being made particularly strong to incentivize people to get involved. Probably not a terrible idea, but it does make Capcom look a little bit ridiculous. Makes it look like they can't balance a game. And to be honest, after playing Base World and watching the constant updates that game went through, yet the game always remained terribly poorly balanced. It made me realize that Capcom actually don't know how to balance a Monster Hunter game, so maybe I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt in a really unrealistic way when I try to justify overpowered weapons. Yeah, if they can't even balance a game when they have the freedom to patch it whenever they want, of course they're not going to be able to balance a game like this. Let's do some diving. So, focusing on the back legs is ideal for this monster. There are obviously 3 main Elder Dragons in this game. Not only those monsters, but the 3 main Elder Dragons of 2nd generation are Kushala Daora, Teostra, and Chameleos. They all do their heavy flinches from the head. In other words, if you're aiming for the head, they will fall over. But in the case of this monster, it's actually the back legs that you want to aim for. It doesn't mean that the back legs take a particularly large amount of damage, it's just that you're going to have better access to the head for the team if you aim for the back legs. And depending on the weapons that you're using, and also the team that you're playing with, you can really heavily flinch a Chameleos by having everyone magnetized to the legs. Yeah, Chameleos is definitely one of the more unique monsters in the series. Pretty interesting to fight. I do remember the first time that I ever fought Chameleos. I just couldn't find him anywhere. It was some low-rank quest in Freedom Unite. This is my first Monster Hunter game, by the way, so a lot of my first experiences in the series happened here. And it was, I think it was a village quest. Whether it was the feline, it's not the village elder. Whether it was the village elder or Nekot, I can't remember, but it was an offline quest. And I just couldn't find him anywhere, and I just gave up. Literally had no idea where he started. I suppose I could have looked online at the time, but I didn't really want to. In those days, GameFAQs. Yeah, in those days, GameFAQs was definitely the place to go. You also had the Mindguard forums, but GameFAQs was a pretty good source of information. Good, quick source of information. But, yeah, didn't think to do it at the time, and I was just so displeased with the idea of there being a monster that is just invisible and you can't find the fucking thing. I found it to be mildly insulting, so I just completely disengaged as a result. Because I already found it difficult to track monsters in those days. Yes, you did have the balloon that you could wave at, and I was aware of it at the time. But tracking monsters if you failed to paintball it was still very annoying. I didn't use Psycho Serums in those days. So the idea that they stepped it up even further by making the monster invisible, I couldn't stand it. I thought it was truly, truly stupid. Ridiculous. So yeah, my first Chameleos experience was that. Oh god. Of course his tongue can steal your items. I don't think it happens as much in this game though, does it? I probably should have checked. Yeah, the item stealers in this game are Chameleos and Gypceros. Chameleos will usually steal your more valuable things though. Or rather has the capacity to do that. Whereas Gypceros usually won't steal things like ancient potions. Oh, but this monster, he has a particular penchant for things like max potions and ancient potions and basically the things that you really don't want stolen from you. What do you mean, can he disable the chat? Just speak to me directly, what are you doing? I will disable the chat. It's what I usually do. Obviously it is distracting to someone. Or some people. Wonderlord is distracted anyway. Yeah, I don't really like it visible either. Because as I say, it's a little bit immersion breaking. And as you can see, we're getting a good number of knockdowns here. Also, because I have a decent amount of purple sharpness on this sword and shield, I'm just sharpening up to purple every time. This is the first game to have purple sharpness, by the way. And it is a G rank sharpness for the most part. There may be exceptions to that, but I don't think so. I believe it's only rarity 7 and above in terms of weaponry. I don't think that poison lasts for very long, but I'm removing it anyway. You can see I have speed sharpening and possibly razor sharp as well. I do, yeah. So sharp sword is razor sharp, sharpening skill increase is speed sharpening. So why not just sharpen immediately? We have broken the head, which does require dragon element. Obviously one of us has dragon. I don't know who it would be. Maybe Jefferson does have dragon element after all. I will keep an eye on him. I'll see if he is producing dragon damage with his greatsword, and if he is, it means that in 2nd gen, the weapon was given its dragon element. I thought it may have been 3rd. I want to see him attack. No, that is, no, there is dragon, okay. It was difficult to see. But yes, it is a dragon weapon in this game, so it was his dragon damage that actually broke the head. All it does is require 1 point of dragon damage, and then the rest of the damage that's dealt to it that's non-dragon damage can also contribute to the breaking of the horn. It's the same for all of those 3 Elder Dragons. Dragon damage is required to break the head, and if you break the head, it prevents them from using their special ability. In this case, it's the monster going completely invisible. He can't go completely invisible with his horn broken. Kushala Daora can't produce his wind with a broken head, and Teostra can't create his flame aura with broken horns. So it's definitely advisable that at least someone on the team brings dragon element. Now what you just saw there was the tail popping off. The interesting thing about the tail is that it does have a required amount of damage to be dealt to it for it to come off, but it will not pop up, or will not pop off, sorry, until the monster has reached a certain level of health. It's basically a health threshold, primarily. So it will look as if you've just been attacking the thing for the entire quest and it still hasn't come off, but in reality, you may have reached the threshold a long time ago. It's just that the monster hasn't reached a low enough health for the tail to come off. And you don't need to hit it again. If it's reached the threshold, just attacking the monster normally will cause the tail to pop off. It's rather strange. I guess he can still turn fully invisible. He's just not as good at it. Or it happens less often. Maybe there's another benefit to breaking the horn in the case of Camellias. I think they're a bit better with that in 4th gen. The breaking of the horn. Got a Camellios jewel there. Wonderlord's asking about the green smoke that Camellios is producing. This is actually one of the differences from, or between, a 2nd gen Camellios and a 4th gen Camellios. In 4th gen, he only produces poison smoke. In this game, that green smoke, if you get hit by it, it will completely steal your stamina. And not temporarily, it will permanently drop your stamina to the lowest possible level. So bringing ancient potions, or indeed stamina recovery items, to this quest is absolutely essential. Maybe not essential, because I don't do it, but and my ancient potion is usually not for that. But, you know. It's a fairly easy attack to avoid. It's just that if you do get hit by it, the consequences are quite severe. And it will deal a decent amount of damage to you as well. Oh, come on. As I was saying before, earlier on in the quest, the sword and shield is not a very strong weapon type. You can perform well with it, and there are certain sword and shields that are very effective, but for the most part, it's fairly weak, and usually not what you would bring if you wanted to have a very quick hunt. I've got a group of 4, so I don't mind being a little bit weaker. If you really want to be effective against this monster, bring the punishment blades. It's the silver and gold dual blades. If you do some demon dancing on these back legs with the punishment blades, you'll get immediate results. Maybe not immediate, but it will be very effective, and you will thank me for it. Apparently Cushion died as a result of a weapon bounce. It's unfortunate. So yeah, the appropriate elements for this monster are dragon and fire. I think fire, for the most part, is better, just because of how effective it is against various parts of the monster. But dragon is also a good choice. Obviously for the breaking of the horn, and for the most part, but it's also a pretty good choice. Just for general damage. Oh my god. I have taken a lot of damage in this quest. I'm not going to deny it. Definitely could be playing a little better. Don't you love that beautiful mobility of the sword and shield? Its capacity to close the distance almost immediately. There we go. Objective cleared. So that is a full health Chameleos. Keep in mind that with Elder Dragons in this game, you will occasionally begin the battle with the monster at less than full health. But I would say our team did a pretty good job. This is generally the weakest of the Elder Dragons, or at least it is the weakest of the 3 that I mentioned before. But it still takes quite a lot of damage to get it from full health to nothing. You could probably tell that we were really beating on him. Still well within the 15-minute period. Just so that everyone knows, I'm playing this on Hunsterverse, which is basically an environment where you can play online with various emulated Monster Hunter games, primarily the PSP Monster Hunter games. That's where Hunsterverse is most useful. It's pretty community driven. See, this is the problem with Chameleos jewels being the same color as Big Elder Dragon jewels. You think you've got a Big Elder Dragon jewel, but no. Quite often, it's a Chameleos jewel that you've ended up with. Not a bad first monster, but this guy might be inclined to grind the monster, and if he's feeling like that's what he wants to do, I'm going to have to pour cold water on his plans. Because ultimately he did join my room, and then posted his own quest. I decided to... I'm not going to say I was being gracious by letting him do the quest, because in the end I was just going to do a random monster anyway. So if it means that I get to help someone in what they need, then may as well do their quest if it's a good one, right? But that doesn't mean I'm going to grind his Chameleos monsters. He did actually post the higher rank one, so maybe he didn't get what he needed. But that's too bad. I guess that shows that I actually wasn't being very accommodating after all. It's the Kiyomi show. It's where 3 people do whatever Kiyomi wants. Or at least that's what he would like. What's he posted? The Floating Dragon. Okay. An interesting choice. Maybe it's not such a bad thing to leave it in his hands after all. And by it, I mean the quests that we're doing in this particular recording. Now there is fast travel in this game. I'm just not really making use of it. You can fast travel to the farm, the kitchen, and also your home, as well as the online and offline halls. And also the training school. That I had forgotten about. Alright, let's go to the kitchen. This cat has something to say. No, so Yangaruga actually is no longer treated as a special quest. So in first generation Monster Hunter, Yangaruga is actually a special quest where you can repel him and fight him with reduced health in the event that he's been repelled in a previous quest. Second generation removed that feature for that monster. That sort of thing is now exclusive to Elder Dragons. What should I use? What's the monster? Yamatsukami. Still need to get a good pierce bow for Dragon. I'm still using the level 2 charge for the Acantor Chaos Bow, which is just, it's just not good enough, is it? I might just bring the Diablo's King Bow. So, raw damage. As you can see, I've only got one skill on these armor sets. That's obviously not the way it's meant to be. The interesting thing about armor sets here in this era of Monster Hunter is the decorations are not saved to the set itself. If you're swapping decorations around, you have to fix it manually. So in this case, I'm using this same helmet with my greatsword set. So if I put my short charge jewels in here, it's actually going to give me 2 more skills. You can imagine how that might have happened. Maybe there's like a negative skill on the previous unsheathing decoration, or something like that. But, oh, this is not what I want. This is the wrong bow. This is the Dia Sorte arrow, which is a fire pierce bow. Still Diablos, just not the Diablos that I want. I hope they haven't departed without me yet. When I say yet, I do not mean yet. I don't want them to do it at all. Not in 5 minutes' time, and not now. Wait for me. Oh, great. It looks like Kiyomi is having connection issues, because you can see I've joined the room and these 2 guys are still joined up on his quest, but he's not visible at all. What that means is that if I were to join his quest, the connection would be terrible. We would get like a communications error if we tried to depart. So I will try rejoining, and I'll see if Kiyomi reappears. Obviously, he doesn't speak English, because if he did speak English, he wouldn't have posted a low rank quest instead of a G rank quest last time. So, if I had to request him to leave and rejoin the room, it probably wouldn't end very well. Fortunately, it wasn't necessary. I just had to rejoin again. But that's the bottom line. If you're departing on a quest that's being hosted by someone who's not even visible in the room, you're very unlikely to properly connect into the quest. Just strange old Monster Hunter things. I think this actually has power coatings, it sure does. This is a very strong bow. Alright, I'm going to bring combination materials for more power coatings. I have no shortage of nitro shrooms with which to do that. The reason why they chose to put Rathalos on the cover of Freedom 1 is because it was meant to be like a portable version of Monster Hunter. So it was like, I'm not going to say it's like a reboot of the series, but that's why they chose Rathalos. It's sort of, imagine that it's being treated as Monster Hunter 1, but for portable systems. So they went back to the original flagship. It would have been cooler to have someone like Yangaruga as the flagship, though, for sure. Hopefully Cushion ends up hosting. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, I've taken the map just so that you guys can see the tower map. This is not the full tower map, I should mention. There are two versions, well, technically three versions of the tower that you can visit in this game. You have the version that we're on here, where it's basically half of the tower. You've got the full tower, which takes probably 2 minutes to climb before you're actually getting started with the quest. Jefferson is, well, he is actually collecting thunderbugs. Or more specifically, no, he's not. He's actually, sorry, he is just gathering bugs. I thought he was getting thunderbug jelly, but no, that would involve killing the great thunderbugs. He's instead just using his bug net to catch bugs. And off the top of my head, I don't remember what bugs you can get from there, but anyway. The third version of the tower is one that also, I think it's sort of around here in reality. It's basically the arena version. There is an arena that takes place within the tower that you jump into, and in this particular game you would fight, say, Kirin there. In 3 Ultimate you'd fight the Gold and Silver Rathalos monsters. I mean, you know, same as this game, just they brought it over in 3rd gen for 3 Ultimate. And this is Yamatsukami. This is one of the final bosses of the game. I believe it goes in this order. Your final quests of this game go in the following order, and I believe I'm getting it right. It goes Yamatsukami, Shengaoren, and Ukanlös. Ukanlös is actually the final boss of the game. Or it could be Shengaoren before this monster. I don't remember anymore. Okay, he's doing the sucking attack. This is a very dangerous attack. And if you get sucked up into it, it will automatically take all of your health. But if you are healed before you get up off the ground, you can actually be saved from the attack. So it's not a guaranteed kill, because if you have a diligent and well-practiced healer on your team, you will be able to avoid death. But it doesn't happen often. But that is why they include life powders in the box. I don't know if you were able to see, but they were actually included. The window is, it's probably like a 3 to 5 second window in which someone from your team can actually heal you out of that attack. That's one of the dangers of being close range with the monster. You can see that he has a fire attack. You've probably got enough time to get out of the way though. When he does that maneuver, he's either going to do that fire attack, or he's going to spin around. And if he's going to spin around, you probably want to get out of there anyway. And get into position. There are various options for evading the spin attack. I'm going to try and demonstrate one of them. It's probably the more eccentric of your options. You can leave the area completely, you can jump down, and in fact I can demonstrate jumping down. Because he's now fallen. And the interesting thing here is that, I guess this is like a flinch of sorts. You can jump down and actually carve his body. My box is very much, or rather my pouch is very much full. Cushion is mentioning speed toggle. Perhaps Kiyomi was using speed up? If he was, then I suppose I've caught it on camera and I can report him if I want. So basically, you're not allowed to use speed up online in Hunsterverse because it creates disconnections. No, he's back up there. So you can actually have this monster stay closer to the ground for a while. And you do it by throwing tranks at him when he's doing that sucking attack. But I actually find that really annoying. It's especially annoying for people who are using Blade Master weapons. And there are one of those people in this room. Cushion is managing to play the game and also create clips of the live stream and post them. So he's doing quite well. But yeah, Yamatsukami is definitely a novelty. An exciting, strange Elder Dragon to fight. But once you've fought him a few times, it's quite standard. Alright, he was flinched out of that. If he, based on the position where he started that attack, I probably wouldn't have been able to escape by continuing in that direction. What I would have to do would be sheathe my weapon and then jump off, which would be kind of annoying. Oh, here we go, Kiyomi's not in a good position. Oh no, he's fine. So yeah, if you throw Tranks at this moment, 2 of them specifically, he will actually fall down, but I think it's a bad idea. It's not really worth it. It's just a fun little Easter egg, more than anything else. That's the way I treat it. I don't think it has much value beyond that. Because what happens is, he falls down and then you can attack him for a while on the ground, which is fun. But what he does after that is very annoying. He flies up to a point where you can't hit him if you stand here, and if you're on the ground, you can only hit the very ends, the very tips of his tentacles, and it's just frustrating. Particularly if you're using something like a greatsword. If you're using a greatsword in that situation, wow. You're going to be fuming. Or at least I would be. I don't have the patience for that. It's very fiddly. So, more or less piercing into the face. I believe that's the weak point of the monster. Oh, we've got another knockdown. Sometimes you will actually fall straight through, and there you go. I was able to demonstrate it. You want to aim for those lumps on his back. Although it sort of looked like I was on target with the lumps. His lovely lady lumps. But unfortunately, wasn't able to make it. And you can see that if I had jumped just now, he would have knocked me off anyway, because he was finished with giving us the opportunity to carve. So yeah, he's one of those monsters that gives you a chance to gather his materials while fighting him. Have to work on my stamina management a little bit. If I'm charging up my attacks and evading, leaves me with very little stamina to play with. As you can see, there's lots of great thunderbugs that try to distract you from your fight. Doesn't matter what kind of confrontation it is, Capcom will find a way to put small monsters in there with you. Unless, of course, it's an arena quest. Could you imagine if there were small monsters in arena quests? That would be horrendous. Fortunately, not even a first-gen thing. They probably just didn't think of it. I'm sure if someone said at this time, hey, are you giving the hunters an easy ride by removing small monsters from this arena quest? You should put them in there. They probably would have done it. Bastards. We're probably going to get a sucking attack here. Unless, of course, we flinch him. Hello, Takashi. Yeah, Yamatsukami's pretty rare. He's only in this game. Or at least as far as the mainline games are concerned. Sorry, it's not true. He's in DOS as well. He's in DOS, he's in this game, but he's also in Monster Hunter Frontier. Strangely, in Monster Hunter DOS, he's fought in the town. You actually fight him in the town, which is a really strange sight. I haven't reached Yamatsukami yet in Monster Hunter DOS. It'll be cool when I get there, though. The thing with DOS is that I don't know, I've obviously got this game to play, I've got Freedom 1, and I'm also working on my Monster Hunter 1 save file. It just gets a little bit too repetitious if I'm also playing DOS. It's all the same lineup of monsters. It gets really tiring, I have to tell you. And there he goes. He's got a very epic death. That's why I'm playing the scene for you. He's also one of those monsters that has a very long death scene, but you can actually start carving him while he's in the process of dying. I think it's just Capcom's way of saying, hey, we get that the monster takes ages to die, so we'll let you carve him before he actually finishes dying. I actually completely forgot to combine for power coatings. Ancient Dragonwood, I'll just replace my empty bottles, they're not that valuable. As you can see, he still has his waving webbing? I don't really know how to refer to that. Is it webbing? Is it something else? The fact that it's still moving is pretty gross. Did you actually report him? No. That's what you meant by LMAO, he missed it. Okay, well that actually works quite well. I can't say I've ever had someone submit a cheater report by clipping my Twitch channel, but that's quite funny. I suppose viewers of the cheater channel will have to listen to my commentary. But of course I missed it. I'm never going to notice someone speeding up. Well, I will, obviously, if they're in the area with me, but, you know, I'm focusing on playing the game. And also, don't underestimate how much attention conducting a commentary will take up. Everything related to playing the game itself is probably being done subconsciously, to be honest with you. I've been hearing this distant creaking sound. I've got... What the hell is it? It must be one of the doors in my home. Anyway. Let's just see what Kiyomi posts next. He's gonna get banned anyway. But that's alright. Oh, he's posted a special quest. Is it Fatalis? Legendary Black Dragon. It's HR6 though, mate. I don't really know if I want to do Fatalis with this team, but maybe we will do the G-rank version. Sorry, the high-rank version, because at least the high-rank version is going to be a little easier to kill. I don't mind doing Fatalis, let's just do it. The thing with high-rank Fatalis is that it still takes a very long time. So you're not really missing out on the true Fatalis experience. If anything, the less exposure that you get to the true Fatalis experience, the better. Because it's fucking boring. I'm just going to come right out and say it, it's boring. I always eat the same food, by the way. It's Kirin cheese and golden fish brew. So, dairy and drink. It gives me 150 health and stamina. I'm really going to have to shut that door that keeps creaking. It's driving me insane. I mean, you guys won't be able to hear it, but I'm bloody hearing it and it's distracting. It's like being in a haunted house. Fatalis. This can actually be quite a risky enterprise, and not for the reason that you would imagine. Ooh, not this loadout. I'm actually going to use my adrenaline gun set, which let me go and cancel out my food. No, I won't cancel out my food boost, it's fine. It's actually easier to do this at 100 health. But basically, the reason why it's risky to use adrenaline gunning with a group is because so few people use adrenaline and heroics in this game that a well-meaning but singularly ignorant person on your team is going to see your health, not consider that you may have lowered your health intentionally, and life powder you. There is nothing more annoying than being life powdered when you're trying to use adrenaline. It's extremely frustrating. And sometimes it's done to aid someone else on the team, you know? You are going to encounter more people using life powders in 2nd gen than anywhere else, so it's awkward. Particularly because it feels weird to castigate a person for trying to help, if that makes sense. I'm going to have to get up and shut that door before we depart on this quest, by the way. I'm bringing some large barrels as well, because I do have a lot of health to deplete. As I say, I normally do 100 health, because what it is it's easier to get yourself down to the correct amount of health if you've only got 100. But this will still be manageable. It just means that if I die for whatever reason, I'm probably not going to have enough on hand to drop myself down to the appropriate level of health a second time. It means that I'll have to, take a tail swing from the Fatalis or something in order to do it, which obviously is riskier than doing it in a more controlled way with your own bombs. So what I'm bringing, and this might come as a surprise, is fire shots. Fire shots are ideal with this sort of loadout. God, I need to do something about my materials. I don't need these drinks. You have to be a little bit more ruthless with what's in your pouch when gunning in this game. Flaming shots, fire herbs, and also normal level 2 for good measure in case it's necessary. It may very well be. What's my... okay, moderate recoil. PS2 might be appropriate. I think I can rapid fire PS1 with this, can't I? Yes. I'll bring PS1 in that case. Okay. Top up my normal and my flaming. Is Jefferson coming back? Would it not be ironic to lose our 4th player while fighting the monster that we needed him the most while fighting? We'll find out. Maybe he's just doing some intense quest preparation. In the hope and expectation that that's precisely what he's doing, I'm going to go and shut that creaking door before I go absolutely insane. I'll be back in just a moment. I'm back. It looks like we have actually lost our 4th player, so I'm going to advertise the room. What that entails is the following. So this will draw its attention to people who are reading the chat who may want to play. This is not as effective as it used to be. It still works, but some people don't actually check the chat when they play. And by the chat, I mean this chat. This is Cushion here. Not all of this, but obviously that. He's telling this person to come. I'm not going to wait for too long. Otherwise we may lose the other guy as well. XXX. That's a good nasty Savage song. Triple X. Well, he's definitely got an appropriate loadout for Fatalis. At least as far as his gut skill is concerned. I don't know about flat-footed. I have to be honest, I can't even remember what that does. I think it might be related to stamina recovery. Yeah, I can't remember now. Flat-footed. Might be the negative of Marathon Runner, maybe? Which I think is just called Runner in this game. Which sounds a little bit strange, doesn't it? Just Runner. I could always check, but I'm not that concerned. Not that interested. I'll check the in-game chat to see if he said that he's changing weapons or something. Whoops. Yes. When you see someone type CW, that means changing weapons. It's really necessary to say these things when you're playing online here. That's one of the downsides to older Monster Hunter. It's that you actually have to, well, I should say PSP Monster Hunter. One of the downsides to PSP Monster Hunter is that you actually have to leave the session in order to change your loadout. There are options to, like there are mods that exist, and I think it's included with Freedom Unite Complete. You can actually change your equipment here, and I think also eat here. As much as I don't like too much being changed in a Monster Hunter game, I think, practically speaking, if you want to avoid having your spot taken in the room, it's probably quite worthwhile to do that. Quite worthwhile to use that mod. I'm not doing it because I want to show you guys the traditional experience of playing the game, but yeah, I've never even been tempted to do it solo, I suppose, or rather, do it off camera. I suppose the reason why is because I've always played this way, so I don't feel like I need the quality of life. What I have noticed, however, is that this guy has the full Hermitor Z, in other words, the Plum Hermitor loadout. He has the full loadout for both Blademaster and Gunner, so this guy has probably spent much of his G-rank experience fighting Plum Daimyo Hermitor, which is a little bit unusual, but that's fine. Guts is a good skill. Okay, we are departing, and we're going to be fighting the legendary Black Dragon. So this is the high rank quest, as I mentioned, but I'm not going to say that the stakes are lower. I will play the cutscene for you. Much to the chagrin of probably everyone except me. But it's a pretty cool fucking introduction. I was always very fascinated with Fatalis, because he is the strongest of the Elder Dragons. His lore in the series is quite grand. But if you look at him, he's just this nondescript black dragon with a very snake-like body, which adds to his mystique, in my opinion. I think they did a good job with that. They did a good job of making him a very strange monster. I'll load my flaming shots, but I will bomb myself first. Ideally, if you're bombing yourself, try to hurt the monster as well. It can be a little more dangerous to do that, but it's fine. I'm probably not going to do it on this occasion. I'm not going to wait, in other words, for him to get down before I do this. Alright, so hit myself with this to get rid of my red health. I'm still not in adrenaline health, but that's alright. This is why it gets a little bit annoying to do this with 150 health, because normally I can just do... I think what it is I do one barrel bomb large plus, and then 2 or 3 small barrel bombs, and then that will get me into adrenaline health. Looks like, well, I was about to say maybe Cushion's doing adrenaline as well, or heroics, but what if he's not? What if he's in deep shit? Oh, still not there. This is terrible. Just about used all of these. I shouldn't have done this. I should have used my... This is an absolute... This has actually become a joke now. I should have used my large barrel bomb. Still not there, believe it or not. Yeah, this is why I always, always, always do 100 health. That was failure right there, because I will kill myself if I use... Oh, maybe let's just give it a try here. Let's give this a try. I actually can't believe that I'm wasting this much time. It's pathetic. That's the last time that I do this with 150 health. The last time. Is that my boost? I thought it was in the 700s. That must be my boost. 624. Okay. I've been in adrenaline health this whole time. That's even more pathetic. I should have checked to see what my health was before I got down here. Well, better make sure we don't die, because I can't get myself into adrenaline health again after this. Fucking hell. Yeah, I thought it was in the 700s, but that's alright. Heroics requires a much lower threshold of health, it's worth mentioning. Probably the best thing about this monster is his theme song. Very grand. Very dramatic. Best practice usually is to get in closer to the shadow of the monster when he's shooting his fireballs. I would say he's just a little bit unpredictable, or rather it's difficult to know precisely where he's aiming his fireballs. Let's say, for example, he's aligning himself with you. You are the target in that moment, but it's hard to know precisely where the fireball's going to go. It's not always going to track you perfectly, so sometimes you may evade into it. That's how annoying this monster can be. It's a bit dangerous to be doing what I'm doing right here. For that reason. Alright, he's doing the snap and drag. Now, snap and drag, stay the hell away from him. He looks like he's just walking forwards. In actual fact, he's producing an attack that can basically one-shot you. So, stay the hell away. When he does that, you can see that he's flying a bit higher there. He's changing to the next area of Castle Shade. So the castle is split into 2 sections. There's a lot of things that you can do in Castle Shade. You can use the siege weaponry. I think there's a... Is that a Dragonator over there? Possibly. That might be a Dragonator over there. And there's also the gate. So you can actually bring Fatalis to that gate and then drop it on him. Lots of things you can do. But I think in this fight, we're just going to be keeping it nice and simple. Just trying to get that on his face. We've already broken one of his horns, which is good. Fatalis has a double face break. Just broke his chest, actually. The biggest thing with Fatalis is to avoid the tail swing. It's pretty easy to avoid, because it comes very fast. Anything that is quite quick is easier to evade. It requires a less accurate evasion. Sorry, mate. Obviously, Kiyomi is not quite confident enough to even come down here and fight. But it is true that this monster does have a sort of intimidation factor, and if you're not familiar with how the fight goes, you may feel safer up on the wall. So the tail swing, it's actually recommended that if you're playing with a group of people, you all try to stay roughly in the same spot. So that way the monster's not constantly turning around and whipping his tail on the team. Of all the Fatalis monsters, this one is the most Blade Master friendly. It's worth mentioning. No, sorry, that's not true. That's the Crimson Fatalis. Crimson Fatalis flies very infrequently, but Crimson ends up being very annoying to use a Blade Master on anyway, because... or a Blade Master loadout on, because... or pretty much any loadout, to be honest, because he's got those falling meteors. Extremely annoying monster. Extremely annoying. So... yeah, the annoying thing about this monster, which you can probably already tell, is that he's constantly flying up into the air. I can't reliably hit him despite using a gun when he's flying up there, but what I can do is I can start shooting him pretty quickly. I don't have to actually wait until he's on the ground. And if he wants to do this, I can actually shoot him out of the air. I knew it was going to flinch him. If you're using adrenaline, you're more likely to do that. Haha, get fucked. Poor bastard. One of those rare occasions that I'm feeling sorry for a Fatalis. We did unfortunately get a disconnection for one of our hunters. That's really shit, to be honest, but that's alright. Ooh. I wasn't the target, fortunately. Oh, there you go. There's a good example of why you should not try to do what he just did. I think I demonstrated that fairly well, or showcased the situation pretty well. It's better to just get in close. And particularly when you're using adrenaline, you shouldn't underestimate how close you are to death with every moment that passes while fighting this monster. We've broken the wings. I'm sure most of you have heard me say that I don't want to do high rank quests when playing with G rank teams, but this monster is the exception, and the reason why is because it's going to be long enough here in the high rank version. As far as demonstrating this monster is concerned, this is enough. You're going to feel it. I'm pretty sure this is a full health Fatalis. You can occasionally get lucky and fight one that's weaker, but I'm pretty sure this one's full health. You will see that by the end of this quest, your desire to watch Fatalis will have been completely sated. Completely. And this is the high rank version. The G rank version is just more of the same. Oh god. The environment is working against me here. That's what got Cushion killed before. He was running away from the fireballs and found that he was running into a wall. Let's get a knockdown. I saw an explosion on the monster there. Don't know what that was. Thought it may have been a crag shot or a cluster shot. Again, I've got no idea what Kiyomi is doing as far as his shots are concerned. I don't know if he has the appropriate ammunition for this fight. My guess initially was no. But who knows, maybe he's got something. Or he might be shooting normal level 1. Anything's possible. I'm not watching him very closely, but if he's shooting normal level 1, he may as well stay at camp. It's the sad reality of normal level 1. What normal level 1 is, in my opinion, is a way of pretending that you're helping. So, like, imagine you've run out of ammunition, you're playing with a team. If you want to make it look like you're actually contributing, you use normal level 1. But you're not actually contributing. It's so desperately weak. Like, the damage that you're dealing is so infinitesimally small that you may as well not be contributing. You may as well be kicking the monster. Oh, getting hit by something over there. I suppose he's using pierce shots. It's probably a good sign. It's a sign that he's not being completely unhelpful. That was a good shot. That may have been the face break. Although I didn't properly see. Oh. It's always ideal to reload when out of ammo. Yeah, it is true that very little has changed with this monster from first into late second gen. This is the last of the second gen games and he's basically unchanged. The biggest change that I can see is that his animation when he's turning around is much smoother. It looks more like a slide. It's a bit awkward. He's got like an awkward sliding maneuver that he does when he turns around in first generation, but here it's more defined. He's really stepping. His whole body is almost, I can't think of the word. It's like a snake wiggling itself. Do you see that? Like his neck is snaking around. It's just a better animation of him turning around. If you were to see the first gen version, it doesn't look as good. That's really the only thing that's changed. Largely the same fight. And there goes Cushion. That's a more acceptable death. That's one that can be difficult to avoid. It has to be said that one of Fatalis' most effective attacks is literally just to go on all fours and kill you instantly. That attack right there. It doesn't look like an attack, but it bloody well is. That also doesn't look like an attack, but it is. Got some dick shots in there. He's also getting some dick shots in. Alright, I've got my rapid fire pierce. This is going to last me for the rest of the fight. And in case I'm wrong about that, and I really hope I'm not, I've got some normal shots. The reason why I really hope I'm wrong... Sorry, the reason why I really hope I'm not incorrect about these pierce shots lasting the rest of the fight is because it's going to take a really long time for me to rapid fire 60 shots, okay? So if I'm rapid firing 60 shots and we're still in this quest, it's going to be pretty sad. Maybe not the best positioning there. It's repetitive, isn't it? Alright, he's moving to the next area. Or going back to where he was. Now, I don't have any stamina recovery items, but I do have an ancient potion. So that's technically a stamina recovery item, but the downside to that is that I will, through using that ancient potion, be curtailing my damage as well. Do you know the beauty of all this, though? We may still fail the quest. despite how boring this has been. We may get a third death. I'd better not do another attack there. I have to be a little bit more careful with what I'm doing. Well, no, I was doing rapid fire before as well, so similar risks. The thing is, the wait time is longer when I rapid fire pierce shots. For those who are unfamiliar, well, it's actually not shown in this game, your wait time for rapid firing. In other words, it's higher recoil. Again, not very good positioning on my part. Danger zone. Danger zone. I've still got the same amount of damage, so all is well. I was really hoping for that knockdown there. This guy's the MVP, look at that. He's trying to bounce bomb the monster. I think Fatalis is too high for it, but definitely a solid attempt. Pretty good flinch there. A satisfying flinch. Could you even imagine if we had done the G-rank version? I can, sadly. And if you can't imagine it, all the better. You've been spared a truly disturbing image. Oh! I don't really want to be getting that close to dying. I really don't. So I'm sure I can take another tail swing, but if I can avoid it. Jesus, that was close. So Cushion is aiming his shots for the neck/head. Even if he misses the head with any of them, hitting the neck is also quite effective. It's definitely like a dance, isn't it? Hunting this monster. Just so happens that the dance tends to go on for much too long. Yeah, alright. Oh no, 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 no. Oh! This is dangerous business. Dangerous business. And he's moving to the next area. My stamina is almost too low to be tolerated. But there's not much I can do about it. Will we end up repelling the monster? Probably. At this stage, I would much prefer a repel than quest failure. Quest failure, to be honest, would be crushing. I would have a weak Fatalis. It has to be mentioned that if we did fail, the health does carry over. But I don't want that. Mainly because I'm not fighting this thing again. Not in this recording. If we repel him, we will get rewards. Needless to say, if we fail, we don't get shit. That's the downside to it. Perhaps you now have a pretty... Oh. This is a dangerous business. But thank you. Looks like he got some rations from the box for me. Much appreciated. Although that was risky. When he walks forwards like that, it's pretty scary. I don't know why, it's a little different to everything else that he has been doing up until this point, so it makes me think, oh god, what's he going to do? Oh. You can see pretty clearly what he's going for there. He's hitting you with wind pressure, so that you're stuck right there where he can fireball you. Glad I was able to demonstrate that, because that's also fucking scary. So remember when I said that I really don't want to still be in this quest after having rapid-fired 60 shots? Well, we're almost at that point. This is why you over-prepare. That's why I brought normal too. There you go. That's the best case scenario, when he lowers himself down to a level where we can shoot him within critical distance. He's almost guaranteed to get knocked down at that point. I don't think Kiyomi's doing anything at this point. Oh no, he's probably now shooting his normal level 1. Oh my god. Oh, he's shooting crag shots. See, now that's perfectly reasonable. Not sure about that bomb. Oh no, that was pretty well done. I stand corrected. It turns out that Kiyomi actually came reasonably well prepared. Okay, we got a repel. That's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. So as soon as you reach 25 minutes, and the monster is still alive, and you guys haven't failed, in other words, carded 3 times, you will get a repel. So obviously, you're rewarded in the sense that your team has survived, you've dealt decent damage, so you get some rewards. You get to try in the next quest. And the health will carry over. Yeah, don't worry, we're not doing it again. That's ridiculous. Oh, by the way, it's Kiyomi's quest, so I don't even get the weak version. He gets the weak version. To be honest, I'd say we did pretty well, not dying. Kiyomi is quite frankly deserving of rapturous applause, because he not only didn't die, he managed to maintain ammunition for the entirety of that fight, which I was not expecting. Alright, that's Fatalis. Have you seen enough of him? I fucking have. I've really seen enough of him. For a while. Alright. I'm gonna go and put my drinks back in case I forget them. Yeah, that ended up being a bit ridiculous with my 150 health adrenaline, but that's alright. Hey, we got a fourth person, Hikari, with a Y instead of an I. And a very colourful loadout. What's going on? What do you want? When you see a person turn back to the door like that, that usually means they're going to leave. Oh, hey. We very briefly sniped that guy out of the room. And by that guy, I mean the one who posted the Fatalis. And now we've lost Triple X as well. Well, provided it's something different to everything that's been posted before, I don't mind letting that guy post again. But admittedly, I don't want to be in the position where I have to say no. But whatever. We'll see if he comes back. It's funny to think that we're an hour and 27 minutes in and we've only killed 3 monsters. Chameleos, Yamatsukami, and Fatalis. Well, we didn't even kill the Fatalis, but you know what I mean. Who knows if that guy's coming back? Let's just post something. If he joins, he can just do whatever we're doing. I might do the random hunt command. We have been given red Kezu. I don't mind doing that. As for what I bring, I might bring a water lance for that. Sounds like fun. What is my water lance now that I think about it? I don't think it's Plesioth. But if it's not Plesioth, what would it be? And no, it's not the plunger. It's definitely not the plunger. I like that, though. I like having no fucking idea what my water lance is. Oh, it's Atlantica, I think. Is that what it's called? Aquarius, sorry. No, Atlantica is my water longsword. This is Aquarius. That's one of the fun things with coming back to a character that you don't often use. Or coming back to a game that you don't often play. You can't even remember what your loadouts are like. Not in all cases, but, you know, that scenario where I'm not quite sure what my water lance is kind of fun. Really? He's in G1? Poor bastard. Should we do 2 red Kazu? Let's just do the 1. Wise. With the Sword Saint piercing. He's using the Darkness Lance, which is a pretty good Paralysis Lance. Annoyingly, I don't have it on this version of my save file. At least I don't think so. I think it's a mixture of Vespoid and Hornator, if not entirely Hornator. It looks more Hornator than Vespoid, doesn't it? Triple X is back. Maybe he had left to change equipment. Well, it's not Fatalis anymore, my friend. If you're wondering what whiz means, it means whiz. Tranquilizing whiz. Yep. Because I was about to say it means wizard, and then I realized, well, wizard doesn't have an H. It literally just means whiz, like, you know, really good. It was a word that I'd forgotten about until I engaged my brain and realized, oh no, yeah, he's a whiz. Oh, he's a whiz when it comes to tranquilizing. What a great word. He said sarcastically. Okay. Kezu time. No, I couldn't imagine Switch Axe in 2nd generation. Literally cannot. It's bad enough in 3rd generation. I couldn't imagine a more primitive version of that weapon. It'd be enough to make me sick. Switch Axe fans the world over cry out in dissatisfaction with what I've just said, but hey. Facts are facts. He's spinning around quite enthusiastically. He was doing a dance. I just find it quite funny that there's a monster that feels like it's necessary to spin around with tail swings, even though no one is even remotely close to him. It's actually hilarious. Stupid Kezu. So yeah, standard Kezu is weak to fire. Red Kezu is weak to water. And they obviously repeated that with the Giganox. They created a baleful Giganox who turns red and made him weak to water. But this isn't 3rd gen. Ow. I don't know why you're bringing a dragon weapon to this fight, but I suppose the damage is good even without considering the element. Oh, I tried to shield that, was unsuccessful because I do not have guard skill increase. Or guard up, in other words. I don't have anything relating to guarding on this, and the reason why is because being reliant on your shield is not a good idea in this game. So I don't have skills that assist me in that endeavor. Like, I'm not going to be... I suppose in that situation, I was guarding, but I really shouldn't have done that. I really should have made use of my evasion. This is an evasion lance loadout, which is actually evade up, or evade extender, instead of evade +2. The reason why is because you can see that I can close the distance really quickly. What it does is it increases the mobility of this weapon type, but also it does work evasively as well. Evade extender on a lance is beautiful, and hopefully watching me use it here is gonna do something in the way of communicating how fun it is. And also with this Kezu, I can back hop out of the way of his lightning without difficulty. I suppose since we've got a group of 4, I could have done the double quest, but that's alright. Big expanding sausage in my face. Or we could be considerably more disgusting and say that it's a toothy red rocket. Oh, come on, that was a very short paralysis. He's obviously very resistant. Alright, so the thing with Kezu is that he will sometimes go straight to another area, but if he doesn't go straight to another area, it means he's going to fly around aimlessly for a while. He's a very annoying monster to track. These guys don't seem perturbed, though. Do you see how slowly he moves? It's terrible. I will paintball him, though. I don't think the charge has a high motion value with Lance, but it might do. I genuinely have no idea. It's probably weaker in this game than... Oh, never mind, they're right. I think he's continuing over into that area. They are much more acquainted with the movements of this monster than I am. But I was correct in saying that he does fly around aimlessly for a while. Immediately falls on the ground. Got some Geoprey, and even a Blango trying to get involved. So maybe not some Geoprey, just a Geoprey. The reality is that the mobility is better when you're evading, because if I was doing the charge, for example, I'd have to then recover from the charge in order to start attacking again, but there's no recovery period whatsoever if I'm just evading. Although I suppose I still have to turn around. Oh, that's not good. Can't really evade myself out of that situation. At least not with what I've got. Maybe evade 2 could have done it. Or perhaps not. What you sniffing? That is a dead Blango. So Kezu should be heading to the cave. This ended up being a pretty substantial hunt, despite the fact that it's just one monster and there's 4 of us. Whoa! That's one way of going into the next area. Definitely different. He was talking to the Blango. We've interrupted their conversation. You're not going to get the double charge attack, so in other words, he's not going to create lightning around him and then do it a second time. That was a 4th gen addition. Something I've never really been able to understand is how they can refer to anything on this monster as alluring. Suppose they mean the color? The color is alluring? No. I think, you know, color can only account for so much. If the color's nice, but you're looking at this clammy, gross monster, it immediately stops being alluring, so... Yeah, it's an interesting choice of words. A very unrepresentative description of the monster. Come on, how did that not make contact? That's extremely disappointing. I think I just annihilated his egg. I lanced his egg, literally. That's an interesting metaphor. I lanced your egg. Wow. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. You've just finished sexy time and you say to her, "Oh, I just lanced your egg." She may not even want that. She may be like, "Hey, did you not pull out? What the fuck?" I say put that on a t-shirt. I think that would work really well. Oh my god. Apparently Triple X is requesting Kid in. Okay. If he wants to do Kid in, then we can do it. I don't particularly want to, but fine. I feel like I'm demonstrating all of the stranger monsters of the game, which is good. I don't mind showing some of the traditional monsters that you can fight in Monster Hunter 1, Monster Hunter G, Monster Hunter Freedom 1, Monster Hunter DOS, Monster Hunter Freedom 2, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Like 6 games with largely the same lineup of monsters. It's pretty rough, isn't it? I will always caveat warm regards towards traditional Monster Hunter with the fact that if you play all of them, you're going to get really bored with all the monsters. It's true. You really need to just step away and play some newer Monster Hunter games. Otherwise, you'll just go absolutely insane. Of course, Kirin is in all of these games, but it's a monster that I try to avoid, so I don't have much experience fighting it. I mean, of course, I've fought it plenty of times. I just, as I say, try to avoid it, so it always feels new and fresh when I sit down to fight it. I'm bringing normal heavy bowgun. Excuse me. Alright, I have to find my flying jewel. That's not it. I've got a flying jewel somewhere, and I need to acquire it. There it is. In my Gravios Z chest. Yeah, this is a sad reality of armor sets in this game. Flying jewel, there we go. Now we've got the armor set. Of course, you can get around these things by making another flying jewel. But the flying jewel, believe it or not, flying jewel 3, requires, I think, 2 G-rank Fatalis wings in order to make it. It's just not really worth it. Another clip. I can barely keep up. Alright, well, I'll post it. Triple X is looking a little bit uncertain, so I don't mind doing this. I would actually prefer... Oh, let's do the tower arena. I just want to demonstrate the other location of the tower. One that most of you are familiar with, but it's the arena version of the tower. I don't really need to show you guys the old swamp. You've seen the old swamp, haven't you? If you haven't, then sorry. Come to think of it, I haven't done any first gen in this series yet. Well, I guess that means Freedom 1's next, doesn't it? Freedom 1 is next. Yeah, the other map is experiencing an infestation of Genprey. It says Genprey Pack in the quest description. I think I can pass on that. Don't really need a Genprey Pack. Alright. I believe we have what we need. And I believe I've posted what Triple X desires. As for why he's using a pierce bow. Am I going insane? Isn't that a pierce bow? It mustn't be. I must be wrong. There's simply no way. I will be watching, though. I will be watching. Just to make it very clear, if I am correct, which I may not be, in that he's using a pierce bow, he's asking for misery. He's begging to have a terrible hunt. I suppose we'll wait for this guy to play his music. I don't mind. It's a relaxing way to start a hunt. Triple X doesn't give half of a shit. Whatever, I'm gonna move on. Kirin is attacking nothing. It's a good start. But yeah, this oh fuck, we shouldn't have let Triple X enter first, should we? Do you see this? This is horrific. It's his fault. Guaranteed. I saw the monster teleport. I think this might be down to bad connectivity. This is ridiculous. Look at this! I wish I could... Do you know what? I can force disconnect people. it is within my gift to forcibly disconnect this person for having terrible internet. I think I'm going to do it. I actually... But do you know the irony of that? We're doing this quest for him, at his request. I can't do this. It is simply not an option for me to do this. So I'm going to actually request politely for him to... Yeah, Kusha has already done it. I've told him that his... Yeah, and the other guy is also complaining. If he doesn't have a Farcaster, I'll fucking give him one. Like, this is much better than me kicking him from the room. We're playing on Hunsterverse, and I can kick him immediately. I'm giving him a Farcaster. Like, just fucking do it, man. Look at this connectivity! Just to be very clear, for those who are not aware, the first person who engages the monster will be the one who hosts the monster. Look at this! No, I'm removing him from the room. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'll show you what's involved. Gonna see what his name is. Well, let's not typo that. See my guild hall. Brah! Says Manju very eloquently in the chat. Alejandro. Some considerable irony that the person who posted the quest has to be forcibly removed from the room because his internet is so shit that we cannot possibly play with him. Alright, so the monster's going to freeze for a little while, and then the host will migrate. Fucking hell. That is some legendarily shit hosting. And the only reason why we actually stayed connected in the session is because of the very robust netcode of Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. For anyone who played on the ad hoc days, Freedom Unite can stay connected pretty well. That's what I can tell you from my experience of that. Alright, well, everything's better now, I guess. We're still fighting a kid in that, quite frankly, we could have not fought at all. He's probably, if he comes into the Discord, he's probably going to be a little bit confused as to why he was kicked. I will explain to him, in no uncertain terms, that his internet is just untenable. It's not possible for us to play online with that kind of connection. So, you know, if that's what he's experiencing every time he plays online when other people are hosting, then look, my heart goes out to him. It must suck. But that doesn't mean we have to experience it. It's so challenging to keep within critical distance of this stupid horse. Ow. So I'm using the Black Fatalis Heavy Bowgun. It's pretty effective for normal shots. I think technically speaking the Lao Shan Lung Heavy Bowgun is better. But I use that for my elemental shots. So, because I'm a bit weird like that, I just want a separate gun for my normal shots. So I'm using something that may actually be weaker. Oh god. But yeah, the Lao Shan Lung Heavy Bowgun is so stupidly strong compared to most other bowguns that basically anything that it shoots is going to be better than anything else that shoots the same ammunition. So here I am with the Vor Buster. I'll give it a rest, kidding. Seriously. I'm not sure how we're doing. Just to be very clear, I don't know what Cushion's doing. I don't know if he's hitting the monster very consistently. What I am assuming he's going for is a critical draw unsheath attacks, which is called Art of Unsheathing. Oh, see, this is why charging doesn't work either. We're playing online. This monster is unpredictable. Oh, God. I'm not going to blame the mere presence of cushion for blocking my shots, but it does make things more annoying for sure. Oh, that's right. We've only got 2 damage dealers. We've got a guy with a hunting horn, for goodness sake. So it's just Cushion and I, that's it. The guy with the hunting horn is basically pissing in the wind. And, yeah, well actually that was helpful. I'm not going to say a bad word about... What? I need to probably step up myself. I need to get a bit quicker. This is a... The sensitivity of my gun is not high enough. Or, like, the sensitivity of my aim is not high enough to actually keep up with the monster. If this was, say, Generations Ultimate, this would be great. I'd be able to move my camera really quickly. Is it just not working, is it? Well, this is why I don't fight Kirin. He's extremely stressful. At this stage, I don't know if I'm going to have enough healing wares to survive the fight. Do you see what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Bastard creature. And we were fucking around for the first few minutes of the fight as well. Yeah, and he gives us the opportunity to hit him after he has distanced himself immensely from the group. Patience is required. Right, he's doing the focused attack. I can't take full advantage of the opportunity that you give me without taking a hit. Fucking hell. Yeah, what could I do, really? What could I do? Be less aggressive? And what? Not make contact? I wouldn't really be able to deal decent damage if I were being sufficiently defensive to avoid getting hit. Whatever. Oops. Ancient Potion. The silver lining is that this monster doesn't have much health. It's that way by design. The expectation is that your fuck off! The expectation is that your DPS will be quite low with this monster. You are literally the embodiment of pure garbage. You luminescent piece of shit. I just hate Kirin. I do not have the time for this monster. I cannot stand it. That was a good charge, Cushion. It's very satisfying to see a level 3 charge from a greatsword on a Kirin. It's very much needed. Hip firing is probably ideal. I just don't know if I can do that accurately. Probably not. What I've been trying to do is aim down my sights and get the head, but that's not really working. You can see that the number of shots that I'm getting out is too minimal. And my damage is obviously minimal also. So I'm down to 1 Mega Potion and 1 Potion. That's it. That's all I've got. So I'll have to play more carefully, I suppose. Which probably means hip firing. That's what I'll have to do. Oh, thank God. Nice strong attack. I tried to get out of the way, just couldn't. Why this creature needs a big hitbox, I've got no idea. I'm already begging for death. Yeah, you can see hip firing is safer, just... You will occasionally see me shoot way off target because I suck at it. I shouldn't have even said occasionally. I think you will frequently see me shoot off target if I hip fire. I don't know if that was on target, Cushion. It didn't look like it was on target. Alright, combining time. I'll combine about 30 shots. I shouldn't need more than that. We are, believe it or not, coming towards the end of the fight. It's just that the experience of fighting this monster is truly unpleasant. It does feel like an eternity. Very nearly got caught in that. And I remind you of the irony of the fact that the person who wanted to do this quest had to be removed. So we could have actually avoided this whole confrontation had we just said to the guy, hey, we've noticed that your internet really sucks, and we would rather not play with you. It wouldn't really play out that way. We'd probably just say something like, hey, don't enter the room first, for God's sake. Like, whatever you do, don't do that. Unfortunately, because it's an arena quest, he needed a Farcaster to get out, but most importantly, I don't think he was reading the chat. He's not going to be able to comply with our request if he's just busy hunting the monster with no lag while we are actually barely remaining connected in the quest because of how bad the internet is. Ugh. Again, I'm failing to follow my own advice in primarily hip firing. Ooh, off target again. Oh, shit. How would you recommend I evade what just came my way there? Oh, no. He's so quick. If he finds his target and decides to do a directional charge attack, like charging forwards, there's very little that I can do about it. You think this is a big kid in? Could be. I just want him dead. I don't care how big he is. It's always on me. Oh no. Another badly timed knockdown. For cushion. Fuck this. 15 minutes of kidding. This is a form of torture, I would say. And if it's not yet a form of torture, it should be implemented as such. It should be utilized by regimes across the world that torture their political prisoners. He's dead! Prick. Didn't even break the horn. But do you know what? I don't care. You're probably right in that it's a large kid. He looks pretty big. That was terrible. Can't believe we had that experience forced upon us. And the final insult, of course, is that this monster only gives you 2 calves because he's really small. Thanks, Capcom. Alright. We're probably going to do one more hunt. Yeah, one more. I don't want to finish on that fucking quest. There's just no way. I'm not doing that. We'll do one more hunt. And we'll try to have it be a good one. We'll see what the random hunt command gives us. No. Famitsu Daora is what we were given, which is a very, very strong Kushala Daora. We are not finishing on Famitsu Daora. That is just not happening. That is ridiculous. And I would rather eat nails. So, let's just not. Alright, he's brought a greatsword. That's good news. That looks like the... Which... Fatalis Legacy. It is the White Fatalis Greatsword. I thought it was the White Fatalis Greatsword because it was too light to be the Black Fatalis one. But it's so dark compared to the later generations that I, at first, had no idea what I was looking at. Alright, this is much better. This is very good. Alright. There's a guy in the Discord chat named Space Trucking. It's quite a name. He's got a fancy font. Alright. So, how this is going to work is I will be paralyzing the ever-loving shit out of this monster. And I've got guards, which makes it so that if I get hit by this monster, he's not going to one-shot me. And we've got Cushion with a hammer, so we'll have added KO opportunity. And we've got Wise with his greatsword. So even though we've only got 2 damage dealers, this monster is going to be stuck in place for a long time. Now, believe it or not, in this generation of Monster Hunter, if I shoot paralysis shots on a monster that is in the process of being paralyzed... Nice trap. If I shoot a monster with paralysis shots while it's paralyzed, it will actually build up paralysis. Alright, so that should be going into a paralysis. Yes. You can probably already tell how potent this is going to be. Oop. I have to work a little bit on my timing. Could be better. Oh, I'm going to get caught in that. Against all the odds, I didn't get caught in it. I'm a little bit rusty on the paralysis, I have to say. Let me combine, hold on. Nope. Got a head flinch there, so I'll let them take advantage of that. Oh, and a KO. Very good. I'll take this as an opportunity to combine. So what we're fighting right now, just to be very clear, is a very, very strong version of Teostra. He deals incredible damage, but he has reduced health from the original version of Teostra. Habitually, I'm just not shooting my paralysis shots while paralysis is in effect. I'm scared to accidentally chain it, or, well, I don't know if it will chain itself. I was told by someone, and I don't know for sure that it's accurate. I believe that it would be accurate based on who told me, but apparently if I shoot paralysis during a paralysis, it will continue to build up towards the next one. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, but yeah. There we go. So if I combine my shots now and then start shooting before... Oh, a little bit of a wasted paralysis there, but that's okay. I should be shooting a bit more aggressively during the KO than that. It's alright. Guts is in effect. I just have to get the fuck out of there. Oh, I was killed by the flame aura. I did see the... It was just one of those awkward situations where the terrain was working against me. Because Teostra couldn't move further than that. He was stuck against the wall. I did see the life powder go out there. So it was recognized that it was a bad situation, but yeah. Unfortunately, the flame aura of Teostra killed me. And yeah, pretty unfortunate. So they just need to do the best that they can without me. I'm concerned that by the time I actually get there, the monster will already be moving. Because after a few minutes, Teostra will actually move to a different spot. Which is not entirely surprising. That's a pretty normal thing for monsters to do. Oh, very good. Broke the head. I'm hoping that I can paralyze him before he leaves. I'm trying my utmost. Can I do it? I'm trying! Shit. Oh well. I did my best. So it's actually much faster to use a Farcaster to get back, because it goes all the way down to this area just off the camp. I'm going to hold off on my paralysis until Wise is here to take advantage of it as well. Because the reality is, the paralysis is only as effective as the people who are here to take advantage of it are. The better they are, the more damage is going to be dealt. And if one of them is not even here, It's not really worthwhile, is it? What the hell? Come on. No! Alright, let's use our ancient potion. That's what I was hoping for. I wanted to wait until I could use an ancient potion to actually heal myself before using it. I wanted it to be functional in that situation, instead of just using it to, you know, get my stamina back, in other words. Where's my paralysis? I think it's about time that I got one off. It goes to show that you do get diminishing returns with paralysis. It's just not as acute as in 3rd gen. Oh fuck, that wasn't great, was it? My apologies for the poor timing on the paralysis. Shut up! To actually reduce the damage of the paralysis just to kick me in protest. Don't be so ridiculous. It's not like the monster was completely out of reach. What you do is you go in there and you make the most of it. Ow. That's alright. Ancient potion. Yeah, the curved, I don't really know how to describe it. I suppose running at an angle instead of in a straight direction. Here we go. What's the opposite to linear? Damn. Off the top of my head, can't think of the word. Linear. It's not radial, is it? Can't be radial. Linear. Well, in a non-linear direction. When he sort of runs at that angle, it's really annoying. There you go, there's your paralysis. What are you doing? What's going on? No. Obviously quite dangerous. Oh. He's coming quite close to me. The annoying thing about speed combining in this game, or just combining in general, is that I can't really hold down the button. I can hold it down if I stand still, but if I'm moving, I can't hold it down. It's very annoying. I don't know what causes that. For goodness sake, there's nothing I can do about that. It's like a boomerang coming after you. Not that I have much personal experience with boomerangs being thrown in my direction, but that's what it feels like. It's just on that curve. Feels like there's very little you can do. Wise is getting in there. Alright. Cushion! Magnetize. Oh, there's absolutely no point in me even using these shots. Alright, normal level 2 then. I don't know if there's much point in me even attacking. This is not a gun that deals damage. Anyway. The monster's almost dead. We've done alright, considering that there's only 2 damage dealers if you think about it. They've had lots of opportunities, but it's much faster with 3. What have you given me? More Gemprey Fangs. Thank you. Didn't quite get me into the next area though, did you? Good attempt. Alright, I've only got... Okay, well... It may be possible for me to get another paralysis. I'll try. But basically I can only... What have I got? Okay. So, I've got another 11, so let's see what we can do. It's a total of 19 shots, so... Probably not... It could be. But I'm thinking it's closer to... 20... I guess it's possible. Just unlikely. At least I can feel like I'm doing something while the monster gets closer and closer to death. You will have noticed that the horns have actually grown back. How is that possible? That's a weird thing with Jump Teostra. When he goes to sleep, he will heal himself, which normally happens with monsters when they sleep, but he will regrow his horns almost immediately. It's quite ridiculous. Anyway, fortunately the horns were broken again. And there you have it. That's Jump Teostra. Good job to the team. The reason why you would do this quest, rather than a normal Teostra, for example, is Elder Dragon Jewels. Sorry, big Elder Dragon Jewels. They drop like candy in this particular game. In this particular quest, I mean. So... yeah, definitely would advise you to do this quest if you can. Got a pretty good hit chain going there. Alright, let's see if we get a big Elder Dragon Jewel. I just want to be able to demonstrate what I'm talking about. There you go. Big Elder Dragon Jewel. You don't get much Zenny, though, for your reward. Which is a shame. Okay, well that's going to be it for this recording. This has been the first recording in Freedom Unite for the series. I'll try to do Freedom 1 next, but that sort of depends on whether or not I can get a group together. It's hard to get a group together, depending on the time zone. For the time zone that I normally play in, it can be difficult. So, yeah, if I wanted to get consistent hunts in Freedom 1, it would be in the evenings. But, like late evening and early morning. But that's alright. I will make it work. What is this guy? Tank Sorcerer. That is an interesting gun. I can see like a dragon wing coming off that thing. Very strange looking. Anyway, I do thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time I'm playing Monster Hunter in this series. And, as I say, it's probably going to be Freedom 1. So, first gen. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.